All I ask for out of anyone in this world is simple respect. Where am I going to get that? R-E-S-P-E-C-T. That good enough for you? Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're taking a look at yet another legacy figure. This is Starscream from the Armada universe. We're going to be getting a lot of figures in this legacy and its Legacy Evolution follow-up from Armada, since Armada is celebrating, I believe, its 20th anniversary this year, so that's definitely a treat for Armada fans. They are getting new versions of their classic toys. The unfortunate downside to that is it doesn't come with any mini-cons or any way for mini-cons to be plugged into the figure. So, I guess that's a bit of a downside. But at any rate, we have Starscream with us today. And for the benefit of those who aren't as familiar with this character, Starscream in the Armada universe was a younger Decepticon serving under Megatron. He was, unlike his original version, who was a constant schemer, this version of Starscream sought to seek approval from Megatron for his actions. However, all Megatron could do about Starscream was find fault in his actions, which did, for a brief time, lead Starscream to leave the Decepticons and side with the Autobots briefly, until a couple of the other Seekers were able to convince him to come back. However, Starscream also ended up sacrificing himself in the battle against Unicron to try to prove to Megatron that they needed a better leader to stand up to the threat that is Unicron. Eventually, Starscream would be resurrected and would generally start to take on more of the familiar traits that many fans of his know and love. Alright, let's take a look at Starscream's accessories. We'll start here with his wing blade, as it's commonly known. And this has changed from a lot of the original publicity stills, because a lot of them showed that this was going to be red in color. But apparently they just decided to leave it in this molded gray plastic instead of painting over it. Probably to save costs. But at any rate, it's a nice looking blade. And then we also have his Energon sword. There are a few fans that question the use of having their weapons with Energon, since of all the things that they harp on about, that they're running low on it, yet you can use it for your weapons. Yeah, maybe their weapons are energy efficient. Well, then again, back in the 80s, probably not. Nothing was energy efficient back in the 80s. Since this is from a more modern toy, maybe his sword's a little bit better on its energy usage. Something they never really talked about. Alright, now that we've gotten that covered, let's take a look at Starscream's articulation. And unlike last week's figure, this one has about what you would expect for a Voyager class figure. The head can be turned from side to side, and it is on a slight ball joint. So it will look up and down just a little. You can raise his arms up about so far. And once we move the wing out of the way, his arms do rotate all the way around. You can bend his arm at the elbow. It's double jointed, so that's always nice. And he does have a swivel at the bicep, so he has G.I. Joe style battle grip. Starscream can be turned at his waist, but the jet nose gets in the way of a lot of it. Oops, separated it there. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. His legs do turn at the thigh, so he has a nice thigh cut going there. You can raise his leg at the hip a little greater than 90 degrees. You can bend his leg at the knee slightly greater than 90 degrees. And he also has ankle articulation. So, in some ways it's better, and in some ways it's worse. And before we transform Starscream, there's an alternate way to show him off. And that is that we can raise his thrusters up here and position them along the sides. And then they kind of stand in as shoulder cannons. Just kind of a cool look. The instructions paint him in both ways. I mean, give you a quick look here. I mean, you see right here, it shows us to put them up like that. On the weapon page, it has them on his shoulders, but on the transformation page, it does not. But yet the first step shows them back on again. So, basically, when you're ready to transform Starscream, we start by putting the thrusters up on his shoulders. Then the next thing we're going to do is we take these sections of his wings and you get them pointing horizontally. Trying to also line them up alongside his shoulders. Like that. And then next we will separate the jet nose from his body and we will fold it up. So it's pointing straight out like that. Now, if only the head wasn't sticking out, it'd almost look like one of them Veritechs from the old Robotech or Macross series, depending on how you wanted to view it. And, of course, we come up here to the front and fold out the little stabilizers. Then next, we turn Starscream around, come down here to his feet. And you're going to fold in the heels into his feet, like so. And then we will straighten his feet out, like that. Now, of course, once we've done that, we also have to pop out this little panel here on both of his legs. There we go. Then, of course, once that's done, raise up this section on his back, because you're going to take his lower waist section, and it's all going to get folded up. And it should snap into place on that piece back there. So now we kind of look like we got a plane with arms floating around. Excuse me a second. Alright, to get us continuing, next we come up here and we push Starscream's head down. It doesn't go down, there it goes, it goes down a little bit, just not very far. Now, once we've done that, we come back here to his legs. You're going to turn them at the thigh cut so that the tail fins point inwards at each other, like that. And I'll flip him upside down to make this easier to show. Because then we're going to fold the legs fold the legs inwards. Like so. Might have to shift things a bit, but once you've got them in, as you can see, the feet go inside the spot on his chest. Once we've gotten them in like that, these little red pieces that we folded out need to be arranged so they come together in between his legs like that. That's a challenge on first-timers, but it can be done. And then you get the legs to snap together onto the body, if you haven't already done so, which mine apparently already did. And then now we're going to come up here to his arms. Right here behind his fists, there's a little spot that opens up. Just open that plate up, fold his hands in, and then close it right back out. And then now we're going, as you'll see here, there's a little post here just behind the elbow. Well, that lines up with these little slots here on the wing. So you'll bend them at the elbow and fold them down to secure the arms to the wings. Just exactly like that. And once they're all secured, there you go. Armada Starscream is now in his alternate form of futuristic jet fighter. And then, of course, you can attach his two blades onto his wings to serve as weapon storage. Because they don't look like they'd be that effective for fighting unless he's real good at maneuvering. And even that's questionable at best. So now we get down to my thoughts. While I know this toy isn't going to top its original, that I know many of the Armada fans out there probably already enjoy, I think this one, in my opinion, and mind you, that's my opinion, isn't bad for what it's trying to represent. Granted, it does not have a mini-con, since Starscream apparently had a mini-con partner, nor does it have a way to plug in mini-cons, so I guess that's not a feature that Hasbro's going to do to help celebrate Armada's anniversary. Which is kind of, it's a good thing in a way, because it doesn't give us extra guys that we really don't need or want, but it also doesn't allow it to pay homage to its original, which I know the fans would certainly appreciate. However, this toy by itself, it's not a bad one, and especially if you're going to want to, anybody that would like to have Armada figures now, this is a cheap alternative for it, and a little more readily available currently, as many of the others are, many of the originals are probably a bit overpriced at this point. Hasbro's really playing the nostalgia factor for us Transformer fans, and I think that in this case, they did a decent attempt. Could it have been better? Probably, but I think we're getting good for what we've got. And that concludes my review of the Armada Universe Starscream figure from Legacy. I hope you all enjoyed it. And remember that if you do enjoy the type of content that we feature here on this channel, please do remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.